Okay, attendees, come on in to Winning Federal Contracts. Martin, we got a front row seat for you. Just open the doors right now. Nate, based on the registration, we're gonna have a nice sized group today to learn. This is a good time of the fiscal year for government contracting to win more contracts. And Judy, I'm so glad that you're gonna make us all smarter today.
Thanks, Kirk. This is such an exciting time to be doing this because we have the marvelous gift of, hey, if you were tired of 2020 and you're a federal contractor, you get to say bye-bye to 2020 3 months before everybody else because the federal fiscal year started on October 1st. So I wish everyone a happy new year.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's already here. The government year is over, and for the commercial enterprises, we're in fourth quarter. It'll be over soon. So we're gonna get just a minute for everyone to come in. We're at 12 noon right now, and hey, as you come in, go to the chat box and let us know what city you're in, so that we guide this towards you. Right? We want to know more about who's in the room, and it's good.
Phoenix, hey Shelley.
Yeah.
Albuquerque, Portland. Hi, Jessica. Good to see you again.
Oh, very nice. We got Portland.
LA. Good morning to LA.
Yeah.
St. Louis, Austin. Fantastic.
I literally just got back. I went to Fort Sill to see my son. There was an officer there. He came back through Austin, Texas, where my family is. So Chris just drove through your town. Small world, but it's a 24-hour drive, right, from there to DC area.
Hey, Chris. Yeah, we're just asking everybody, just drop in. What city are you in? Please share. We kind of want to know a little bit of where people are in. We've got folks from Colorado, from Texas, Nashville, South Carolina. This is so exciting. And so everyone who showed up on time, we want to honor them and we want to get started. So Kirk, it's over to you.
Yeah, just to kick things off. So my name is Kirk. I'm the CEO of FORESIGHT CFO. We help CEOs grow their business with clarity, using the numbers, and making sure they have a strong financial footing to do things like what we're going to talk about with Judy about getting more contracts. So Judy, I'm really glad that you're here. I mean, you are my go-to expert for everything government contracting. So do you mind introducing yourself, and we'll jump into it?
Sure. My name is Judy Bradt. I'm CEO of Summit Insight, and for 32 years, I've been bringing the best intelligence and strategies and ideas and stories that I can to companies that want to grow their federal business. And so I'm going to be sharing some of those actionable, practical things I can possibly give you today. And I'm going to have some resources for you, all complimentary at the end. So I'm ready to start when you are, Kirk.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good day. Let's go to the next. Let's jump in.
Okay, so our mission today is to discover the oceans of federal contract data and why that matters, so that an hour from now, you'll commit to action, be able to find the gold inside past federal contract award data, and be able to go and get more anytime you want. That's what we're doing. So here's the thing. We're actually at a really interesting place in federal contracting, but I want to get a little sense here. We're going to go over why federal contract data matters. If you haven't looked at it, why it's essential and why that is going to be transformative for you, where that data is, a basic workflow as you're sorting that out and making the story pop out of the data. And we're going to do a key data fields flyover, get a sense of what it is that you need to be looking at and the kinds of questions that you can answer. And then we'll leave some time for Q&A. So please be active. Put questions in the chat box. Kirk is going to feed me your questions as we go. And if I'm successful, two things will happen. You will leave time for questions and I'll be able to answer them. And if I do a really good job, then you're going to click the link and pick up the free resource I have for you. Please take notes because I'm going to ask you at the end, what one thing are you going to commit to do? Be ready to answer the question. You're going to drop it in the chat. Okay. We're going to have resources for you via the link, and you'll have the opportunity to have a link where you can book a follow-up conversation with me, which I would love to do. All right. So, Kurt, can you open up our poll? We want to do a little quick sense of, hey, can feel like a hard space. So, who's in the room where it happens? And the reason why we do this poll is to give you a really clear sense, because it's so important to realize you're not alone. Whether you're just at an early or starting place on your federal journey, or you've been here for a long time and you're looking for an advantage, we're going to have something for you today.
Yep. So take a moment. Your response is completely anonymous. Take a moment to answer the poll. There's 4 questions. Normally we do 2, but we're really going to test and quiz the group here to find out in the room. Then we'll share the statistical results with everyone. But again, your individual response will remain anonymous.
So we're looking at top line revenue for the year with 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 40, 40 to 70, 70 above. Are you in the government contracting market? Yes or no? Your top challenge in the federal arena. Decide if you're going to pursue work at all in the federal arena. Get in front of the right buyers, write better proposals, find work you can win, or something else. And on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is the federal market to your plans to grow your company in the year ahead? 8 to 10, it's essential. Federal represents over 80% of your planned revenue. 6 to 7, very important. We need strong federal revenue to grow with a commercial. 4 to 5, nice, we'd answer the phone. Or 1 to 3, unsure. Okay, are we ready to go and see what we got, Kirk?
Yeah, let's get a few more seconds. And for those who are not in government contracting, for the most part, our GovCon businesses are, the government still has money. They're based on the contract awards and the task orders. They are still doing work. And
not only that, but pandemic has meant that the federal government, the numbers are going to show that the federal government will have gone through a record year of spending. There's all kinds of new requirements to serving citizens and delivering missions in a time of pandemic. So if you're thinking about the market, you're going to get some ways to figure out whether there's some there for you.
Good time to think about it. So I'm going to wrap the poll up right now. We got 73% response.
Oh, great.
I'll share the results with you. And why don't we just kind of take a look. So 77% of the people are doing 0 to 5. And so the balance is the tiers that are shown. I won't go through every detail to save time for our content here. And currently doing government red, 18%. And the other 80% are thinking about it. So that's a smart move. It's good diversification. Top challenge in the federal arena. Let's see, the first 3 are balanced. Right, decide, get in front of the right buyers, write better proposals, and then find more work. And not the biggest challenge, it seems like, and then something else. Judy, does that help you know what
it does? We've got some, and we have something for all of you. That's the good news. So let's go ahead and do it. So you would think that we would be awash in opportunities. Right now, unlike over 30 years ago when I got started, opportunities were published in the Commerce Business Daily. It was published by the Department of Commerce, came out daily in 3-point type on a little flimsy tissue paper publication, and it came in the mail. I'm not making this up.
Is that right?
Now, oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the reason why I wear corrective eyewear, is the Commerce Business Daily. And so now, you can get your inbox flooded with opportunities. There are databases, you can pay for services, and you would think that with billions and billions served, we are awash in opportunities. And yet, not so much. It is hard. And there's a reason why all that opportunity is just killing small businesses. And it's this. People are looking at all of that stuff and asking the wrong question. And if you have had your inbox flooded with opportunities, if you've had people hitting on you, say, oh, you need a GSA schedule and got to sell to the government. Look at all these opportunities. Most people are asking the wrong question. They're asking, what can I bid? Now, Kirk, you and I are both wear corrective eyewear, and I bet a lot of people on this call have as well too. Have had the experience where you're sitting in the optometrist and go, better A or B? Better A or B? What happens when it flips over? You go, oh, I can see, and it's magical. I'm going to show you how to have that experience in federal contracting right now. The way that the lens flips is when you ask the right question. And the right question is, who's my buyer? not what can I bid. All right.
So actually the person, you're looking at the person, not chasing some contract.
No, write this down. All right. There is no such thing as selling to the government. You heard me. There's no such thing as selling to government. There's only selling to humans. 90% of the things you need to do to be successful in the federal arena are exactly the same as the place where almost all of your business comes from today. That's from relationships. I would bet, and drop in the chat, if 80% or more of the business you won in the last year came from, at the heart, a relationship, put yes in the chat if that's the case. Let me see. What do we got? Yes, says Martin.
Good.
Yes, says Virginia. Yes, says Jessica. Yes, says Courtney. Yes, yes,
Any
yes,
no's
yes,
out
yes. Yeah. Okay, so you already know the essential thing that most people never get in the federal market. If you're going, I'm good at relationships, but this government contracting stuff, cheer up. We're going to get you on track, onto the edge of the fast track right now. Okay. So if you don't get it, you don't get it. The Benjamins are not heading your way if you're not focused on the people. So Kirk, here's another question for the chat. Real quick, what's a lead in business terms? Anybody drop a couple of words into the chat. What's a lead? Quick definition, business terms, what is it? What's a lead to you? Anybody? What's it mean? Not what is, just sort of, what's the definition? How would you define a lead? Opportunity, says Joe. Potential opportunity, says Martin. There we go. Nure. There you go. Our winner is Nure. It's a person whose role or activity and visibility points the way to an opportunity. Now, all of us, again, another chat question. You have probably watched or read a favorite detective story, right? There were times where I used to watch a lot of NCIS. Some people, anybody here a Columbo fan? Just write Columbo in the chat. I love Columbo. And here's who's yours, Kirk? Favorite detective story? Hercule Poirot.
Yeah. I don't watch TV. I read too much all the time.
So are you, I'm thinking of classic Sherlock Holmes.
Sherlock Holmes, yeah.
There you go. Matlock, Sherlock, yeah. So, but all these detectives, what they're doing, whether they're in the squad room or they're in the bar room, they're talking about leads, right? Leads to solve the mystery, solve the story. If you've ever been in a murder mystery, they all talk about leads. The leads they're talking about, it's human intelligence. It's people who are telling stories. They're putting together the story of what happened so they can change the future. And that's your job too in federal contracting. It's all about story. And first, you look at the story. Well, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, you remember our friends, Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein.
Oh, wow.
What was the advice? What was the advice that Mark Felt, Deep Throat, gave to Bob Woodward in the parking garage in Roslyn, Virginia in 1972? What was the advice? Anybody? Put it in the chat. What's the advice? What's the advice? Cracked open Watergate. What is it? Put it in the chat. Anybody remember? Oh man, I know. Yeah, Sharon, what is it? What is it? Drop it in the chat. Who knows? What was that advice? Some of you were old enough. What was the advice? Sharon, what was it? Do you know, Kirk?
I
Brain
don't.
freeze. What do you know? Follow the money. Follow the money. And in federal contracting, that's the best advice you can get because public money means, yes, thank you, Sharon, means public information. Contract data generates contact data. So these are the 4 parts of the federal market intelligence cycle. Every single part of the buying cycle generates contract intelligence. And most people think, oh, there's a forecast, and then there's pre-solicitation stuff, and there's a solicitation, then there's an award. So in the forecast, the federal agencies publish purchasing plans, and then in pre-solicitation, the requirements become defined, the competitive field narrows, set aside potentials evaluate, then you get the door comes down, formal competition begins, and then finally there's an award, right? I want you to look at this differently. Here's why. The federal contract intelligence cycle starts when you start to follow the money. Who buys what you do? Who are the federal humans involved? To go forward, look back. Do what I call backcasting, not just forecasting. I'm going to show you a little bit about how that's done and where. The federal government publishes over 350 pieces of information about every single contract that's based on a transaction that's estimated to be worth more than $25,000, going back decades. And it's available for free online right now. And if you're not looking at that, you better believe that your competition is. I want to emphasize this is free. So you don't have to pay thousands of dollars for a subscription database. I'm going to show you how and where that you can tap that. Jason, you're right, but you're about to have something change. So if you're going to be successful, you need to focus and build a plan around the people who buy what you do. And that includes the contracting layer, the end user layer, the stakeholders, the small business layer, and the primes. And you need to be starting conversations way before a requirement gets published. So if you want to do that, if you want to fill your pipeline, think not of things to bid, but start at the source with the humans. Think about opportunities, think about a pipeline. It's heavy, it's sealed, you're not getting into that thing. You want to be upstream where opportunities are bubbling out of the earth and people are thirsty. That's where you want to be engaged with people. All right. So things to look for. Imagine if you could find out then who buys what you do. How much did they spend? Who did they buy from? How did they describe the purchase? When will the contract be complete? Where will the work be done? In the private sector, you'd kill for that information, especially if it were available for free. That is available now, and that means that you're able, when you're doing this detective work, to find out, you can see who created and modified the contract record. Sometimes it's laid out in plain, sometimes you'll have to do a little digging, but it's not hard. How much work is awarded both on and off GSA schedules or other types of contracts, or without any long-term contract at all. People are just buying stuff. You want to know that because you need to be able to set it up so that you can make it easy to do business the way your buyer does business. And the data will show you that. You can find out how much work is awarded using simplified acquisition procedures. A federal buyer can make 3 phone calls and award a contract worth up to $250,000 if they know you and like you and trust you. Who here would like a contract for $250,000? Anybody want one of those? Mm-hmm. So, but that happens when they know you. You can go, where are those? If you see those published in a database, they have someone else in mind. You want that to be you. So who are these people? How do we find out what they need and want and love and how they behave? Start with the data. So the federal procurement data system for the last 20 years or so, actually a lot longer, has been the official publication of record where all this free stuff is. In a matter of days, in October, the General Services Administration is in the process of migrating this system over to another part of beta.sam.gov and a domain, a part of that called contract data. It's complete, it's official, and it's free. I'm going to show you each system now, and you'll see exactly what a work in progress is. All right. But I'm going to go back over right now because it is still working, the federal procurement data system, and show you a single data record. We're going to play a little bit. Okay. So we're going to peek at that data record right now. So I'm going to change my share and I'm going to go over here. Too much fun. All right. New share. And here we go. All righty. And we had a okay, can you see federal procurement data system screen, Kirk?
I can, yeah.
Okay, great. So this system still exists. And so if you go to, I'm just going to drop it in the chat because I can, okay? Yes, Chris says, I'm so happy with beta.sam.gov. Yes, it can do some great stuff. So here, if you are right now, fpds.gov, that's something you can still use for the next few weeks until anybody ever migrate a system, ever go perfectly and on time? Not always. So be patient because they have a wonderful team at the Integrated Award Environment team, the General Services Administration that's doing this, all right? So it says reports will be migrated in 9 days. So I'm gonna do a search here. I'm gonna do a search on the word cyber. I'm not gonna log in right now, but I am gonna do a search on the word cyber. Now, what you wanna do is after you do your search, whether it's on this one or beta.sam, okay, you're going to go over and click on date signed. So you're looking at the things that happened most recently. Now I'm going to scroll down through here. If an action obligation is worth 0, it's an administrative thing or somebody's updating information or setting up a contract. Okay, so there's no dollars here. So I'm going to go down to something where there's actually some money attached to it. And that looks kind of interesting. All right, let's go find something here. So these are, I just typed in the word cyber. And what have we got here that looks interesting? Purchase order, BPA, delivery order. Okay, this is kind of interesting. All right, so I have a delivery order here. It's for the United States International Development Finance Corporation, the Office of Acquisition, and OPIC. All right, and that's the agency. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to view the record. I'm going to go right in, okay? So this is an example. The layout's going to be different in the new system. But looky here, right up on the top. Now the record was modified a few days ago. It was prepared by Karan White. It was modified by Beryl Dorfman. Those are actual names of real federal humans. Now that whether or not that person made the purchase, they're certainly in the office where they know the people that were involved in this purchase who are going to be consuming these goods or using these services. And so that's a start. There's a lead for you. You go down. Now this is a funding only action. So they've just put money in the pot, okay, to start with. Okay, so this is a contract that's been running since 2015. It was in place then. It was signed on September 30th, but it runs through April of 2021. So here, they put $406,000 and change in the pot, but this contract overall over the life of it is worth $4.7 million. Interesting. So what the heck are they doing? Iron Vine Security, okay. And it's a partnership of some kind. That's interesting as well. The work is being done in DC, going down. So IT and telecom, cybersecurity, and data backup. All right. So this gets interesting because if you're just searching on NAICS codes and the description's all other publishers, really? The product service code, that's quite different. So you've got something that isn't necessary. The NAICS code isn't telling you the whole thing if you're looking for opportunities based on NAICS codes. I want to show you something. So here it says other computer related services. They didn't have a lot of a story, but here there's 250 characters that the buyer can use to describe what they're doing. And sometimes those stories are very long. So here there's no set aside that was used. They did use, it says FSS. So if you go back up to the top, this was done off a GSA schedule. So this was a contract that was awarded, but they used the GSA schedule as a basis for doing it, okay? So these are the kinds of things that start to unpack the story of what's been happening here, okay? So do you see that you can start to understand the bit of the relationship between the buyer, the seller, how they purchased, how they described what they did. Now imagine in your niche of the federal market, having all that data. I'm going to pop over now to beta.sam.gov so you can see how that is going to work. Okay, so I'm going to do a sign in. Okay, there's a problem. Yeah, what a surprise. It's a new system. I'm going to try again. And it's either going to work or it's not going to work, and that's okay. Because right now these systems are in transition and most people would not try to go and do this when the systems are in transition. I'm going to be brave and just see what happens. Okay, it's letting me in. All right, so I'm going to go over to data bank, and I'm going to go over to contract data. All right. And when you go here, you can get a detailed report. Well, I'm just going to show you the screen right now because you can find information here on how to run the static reports, how to run standard reports. There's administrative sections if you're working for government, but you have information as well about how to use these tools. So you want to go and look at the Learning Center, because the Learning Center is where you're going to find resources like how to navigate, and it's where you're going to find instructional videos as well. So you want to explore that library and see what kind of things that they have. It's about ad hoc reports and answering questions. All right. So be aware that you're going to spend some time learning and mastering this. But for right now, I'm going to go back up to the top, and I'm just going to go to the chunk on. So right now it's not letting me search contract data because they are still migrating. So I'm going to do the same search here on cyber. Okay. And I'm going to search not on relevance, but on date modified, and just see what we get. We have award notices, opportunities. So what I want to do is find contract data. And right now it's not letting me do it. So you can see why I went over to the old system. But once you have exported, information, you can get it into a spreadsheet. And that is where one of those things where the magic starts to happen. Okay? Because once you export things from whether it's beta.sam.gov or FPDS, if you can still do it, okay, you're able to export to a spreadsheet. And that is where the magic happens. Because when you select your data fields and lay them out in an order that tells the story, then you can start to filter these lines of data. So in the case of this example, I just wanted to see in health and human services, for example, what kind, I put together my search based on keywords and then put together all the transactions right across government for who buys things in my keywords. And then I can sort out and say, I've got somebody here from Colorado, just find the things that are Food and Drug Administration is buying in Colorado. I can filter for that. I get to the fields H, I, and J, approved by, modified by, prepared by. In this case, the examples, I've got somebody that starts HHS, so that's the department. Then I have C, that's a first initial, and couch, okay? And so that you can start to filter and pop out answers to really important questions. Now I have an example I can show you here, but I want to get to the end of the presentation first, and then I can answer some questions, okay? And Chris, Kirk, there's a question from Chris.
Yep. You want to answer that now or later?
I'll take it now.
Okay, so Chris is that good question. So she says, if winning federal contracts seems too daunting at this stage of our journey, and we want to flesh out subcontracting opportunities, is there a way to approach winning contractors or subcontracting opportunities?
I would say that winning a contract is not as hard as you think, because your federal buyer is the single most risk-averse life form you're ever going to meet. But the second most risk-averse life form is actually the large prime, because they have everything on the line, including their reputation as well as the reputation of their end customers. You have two layers, not just one, of opportunities. Now, who here could imagine something that you could do, a product or a service or a report or something you could do for less than $10,000? Just write me. Product or service, a problem you could solve for a federal buyer for less than $10,000. Me, says Jason. Me, says Sharon. Who else? Less than $10,000. There's something you could do, a report, a lunch and learn, a sample, an evaluation, a training. You're getting this, right? Right. Okay. So a federal buyer who likes you can award a contract worth up to $10,000, pay you tomorrow on a credit card. What do you have, Kirk? What do you think you have besides $10,000 in your bank account when that happens?
It's somebody who knows you and starts to trust you.
You have past performance. You can say, I did business with the Department of Homeland Security, Citizenship and Immigration Services. I did. It was a $2,500 lunch and learn, but I have past performance with DHS directly. So remember where we started. Federal buys come from relationships. And so those little contracts can also show up here. And so rather than going, oh, I want a big prime to feed me, the big prime, some of them honestly say, don't even come and see if this is your first rodeo. I won't even tell you which prime that was. It's like, don't come to us unless you've done business with somebody else first. The large primes, they want to know that you bring customer relationships with you. You're bringing opportunities. They have small business subcontracting requirements, but they're already meeting them. All right, so look at this. Key data fields, things you want to see. You want to see in a given contracting agency. If you're searching on your key terms, then you can see which contracting agencies buy what I do. Where is the work done? Remember I said, do business with somebody you know and like? Well, find somebody in your hometown. People in a similar industry, they talk to each other, even across the public-private sector line. So somebody that you are already doing HR training for now, they might have an opposite number in a federal agency in your town. You can ask, gee, if you were me, who would you be talking to? Our business is growing and I'm looking for new opportunities in the federal government. Do you know somebody I should be talking to who you think would really value this superlative experience we give you, right? So here's the kinds of data fields that are showing up in this data. Now this is important because it unpacks your story and that lets you focus. So you can search the search process checklist example. You're going to do keyword, like you're going to develop your keyword or your collection of keywords, and then you're going to pull those data records. So multiple exports build up your data set. Then you're going to arrange the data files in an order that makes sense to you. All right. Then you can start to filter and color code your data subsets and sort for patterns and priorities. So you can see where you want to start or how much buying is happening in your hometown. Or if there's one or two competitors, you can look at their records and see, hey, how are buyers buying from the people who are eating my lunch? Okay. So these are the things that professional analysts do when they're transforming data into intelligence. They identify the niche, the keywords and the competitors who are active. They export their data, set up their spreadsheet. You start to filter. Set up your data, your Excel spreadsheet to filter so you can filter on keywords and pull out data lines and subsets. And you analyze the spend by agency, for example, then by individual buyer, individual humans who are doing the buying. Who do they love? How do they do business? The type of contract or contract vehicle. If anybody has tried to bend your ear about GSA schedules and you need one and they have not done this analysis and they have not asked you about this analysis, that person is not your friend. Got it? Don't let anybody take you down a GSA schedule journey until you've done the research or they've showed you here are the buyers who use GSA schedules to buy what you do. You need to have the answer to that question before you start what can be a year-long $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 journey. See who's already winning the work. Look at the primes, the regions where the work's being done, the North American Industrial Classification Systems, the codes that are used to characterize the work. So all of that, okay, once you have it in Excel, you can do pivot tables to break out an easy, fast report like this. Who are the top 10 agencies who buy what I do and how much are they spending, right? And for example, in this example, I was doing a search term on staffing and only 150 orders out of over 2,300 were on the GSA schedule. So GSA schedules were not that important for this particular client. So they didn't really need one if they wanted to be successful. Pivot tables can also let you break out specific leading contracts and buyers. So when you've got that data, then you can have it displayed for within the Defense Information Systems Agency in that office. Are they using a GSA schedule and who's the specific buyer? Oh, Christian Fox, we can find him. And they're also doing business with Ann Keller and Trevor Whitaker. You can search and see at this level of detail. These are leads. These are entire mini stories that are breaking out here. And you can get to know the people. And this is what it looks like when you're breaking out, hey, are GSA schedules showing up or lots of work being awarded with no contract vehicles at all? So you want to make these decisions so you can then focus. Because the path to success is like this. The first step is to focus, research the spend, and then choose your target agency. No more than 3 to 5 tops, often less than that. And instead of having anybody use up your time and go to yakety small business conferences and, oh, we love small business, and you're talking to small business specialists, people who are not your buyers, don't do that. Focus and get to know the players at all the layers, all your personas, the government buyer personas at 5 layers in your target agency. Then get really specific. Your second step is really to connect. Research the individual federal humans who buy what you do. Understand their stories. I was working with a client team and they had been really struggling. And we said, guys, we're going to get real specific. You're going to pick 3 offices, one where you know people really well, one where you kind of want to get into, and one where you really don't know very many people. And you're going to pick out at least one player at all 5 of the key layers where you have to know people. And then, all right, well, one person in the FAA, well, she was in a director position, but she's about a year from retiring. Her retirement's been announced. What's going to be important to her? What's her story? What does a win look like to her? The win to you might look like awarding a contract. That's real nice. But before you get to win, you have micro purchase, those things under $10,000. But before you get to that, you have micro engagement. Any win is they return your call. They invite you to a meeting. They open your white paper. They give you feedback on your capability statement. Really get granular on what a win looks like. Because the big win you want is built on a lot of smaller wins. And to do that, you've really got to be able to figure out, what does a win look like for the person, the individual federal human whose life changes when they choose you. So this is really, really personal. So we covered a lot in not a lot of time. What I hope happens, and tell me if, put in the chat, just yes or no. Did this shift how you're looking at what the road to success looks like? Did you get the shift? Yes or no? Yes, says Martin. Yes, says Virginia. Yes, says Tiffany. Hey, Tiffany. Yes, says Jason. Yes, says Fred. Yeah. Then that's the most important thing. We talked about why contract data matters, where that data is, kind of a basic research flow. We talked about key data fields flyover, and I am happy to take questions at this point. I want to know, my question for you is, what one thing are you going to do today based on what it is that we've just gone through? What one thing are you going to do? You're going to focus, says Nira. Yes, you are. What are you going to do? And who else has questions? How do you get to the starting point of being an approved contractor? And Virginia, I am. Download the information, learn to search, create my keyword list. Good. Build Excel spreadsheets. Jason, you are all over this. Yeah. So if you are new to federal contracting, I'm going to give you 2 resources right now. Okay. And those are, first of all, the Procurement Technical Assistance Centers, us.org. Okay. You can go there, and there's literally 100 of these offices across the country. There's one in a city near you. Your tax dollars and mine have paid for them. They have courses, counseling, contracts, and lots of information, and their help is free or extremely low cost. Okay, so look at your Procurement Technical Assistance Center. Other resources that can help, I have things for you. Okay. First, I have a complimentary ebook. If you thought that this kind of went at high speed and you'd like to get 3 easy lessons in free federal market research, I have that for you. And I'm going to drop that into the chat for you. Okay? Because I want you, if I've done a good job, then you're going to go and get this resource. I've built it just for you because I know you get to the end of this and you go, what's next? What do we do? Okay, so here we go. 3 easy lessons in free federal market research. I want all of you to go and grab that link and get this complimentary ebook because I built it just for you. And I want you to have this and use it and start taking more of those research steps that can help you focus. It's a step-by-step illustrated guide that includes how to use federal buying forecasts, how to find out if an agency uses GSA schedules to do what you do it by what you do, and how past federal contract data opens the doors. Okay. As well, if you are at the stage where you know you are ready for a different experience in 2021, you know that what got you here won't get you there. And you want to take all three of those steps and not take a whole year about it, but to get the research done, understand how to connect, and start having conversations with the buyers that you need to talk to within a matter of weeks, not months or years. Then we should talk. And so we book that conversation. I'm going to drop that link in the chat as well. And we'll see whether or not I might be somebody who can help you get where you need to go. So what other questions do we have? Kirk.
Yeah, I just want to weigh in. I mean, Judy, you're my go-to person. We work with a lot of government contractors who, in most cases, are trying to get to the next stage, and you're my go-to person for that. Sometimes government contractors are looking for access to capital, so I have other solutions for getting the right working capital to, to win the big contracts. But if you're on the webinar and you're an experienced contractor or you're a company that's thinking about getting into government contracting, it almost goes without saying. I mean, it's worth a 25-minute call with Judy just to brainstorm and get to know her, because it is those relationships. And Judy, I like what you're saying. It's legwork. You got to do the work to really figure out identify the people, and to really understand who the buyers are and what they really care about. And then from that, you can really develop a relationship and target that buyer where you have the highest probability of doing something with, and that buyer that you can really help them out and and give them what they're looking for in that contract vehicle.
And all of you are in a place where if you want, you register on beta.sam.gov, on sam.gov. It's free. Don't let anybody charge you money to register, but then you get to know the boys and girls, the federal buyers in your town. And your Procurement Technical Assistance Center can help you if you're at an early stage. I have a book, Government Contracts Made Easier. Second edition is an Amazon #1 bestseller. You can grab the first chapter. There's your link, growfedbiz.com/book. I want to come back to Kirk. If you want to win federal contracts, it does not start, I'm going to win a contract and then I'm going to make some money, and with the profit of that, then I'm going to grow. No. Federal contracting starts with an investment. Because when you get paid, you have to invest time and money to find the people, get to know them, do little things, maybe another little thing, maybe another little thing, maybe a bid and you lose and you bid and you lose and you bid, you win a little bit. You spend a truckload of money, you win the thing. When do you get paid? Oh, you have to staff and you have to perform, and then you have to invoice, and then you have to wait 30 days and then you get paid. Ugh. Who's going to keep the lights on till that happens? You need Kirk. If you are serious about the federal market, capital is your friend. You're going to have a plan. You're going to have to invest. The average company spends anywhere from $30,000 to $233,000 in cash and sweat equity over a 12-month period on the road to their first contract win. That's right, $30,000 to $233,000 of cash and sweat equity. The average win, this is mean average win, $370,000 win.
Yeah.
So those are mean averages. They don't mean that much, but it does mean you need to be able to invest time as well as money to be serious enough about this market to actually win. And so you've got to be, and Freddie, you want to know about any tips for HubZone? If you are a service-disabled, veteran-owned, woman-owned, service-disabled business in a HubZone with an 8A, you are the quadrifecta, great. But all of that is not going to win you the contract award. Your set-asides are far less important than your past performance, your experience, and your relationships. The set-asides might start a conversation, but almost no federal agency is having trouble meeting their goals to award work to small businesses. The buyers want to know that you are the low-risk choice and the responsible offerer who can do the work at a fair and reasonable price. You can follow the rules. You can make it easy. You can make them look good. So this stuff is far more important. The set-asides are the icing on the cake. So do not lead with your set-asides. Lead with your capability and show that you've solved their problem for someone who looks just like them yesterday afternoon. So I want to go back and make sure that you've got the goodie link one more time. And so you're able to go pick up 3 easy lessons, because that's going to get you started or get you deeper on the road to where you want to go. So whether or not you are easy doesn't mean for novices. There are seasoned people who don't know how to do these things. So grab 3 easy lessons, share it with your friends. And I have a link as well. If you pick that one up, we'll keep in touch. I have more for you. And I would love to share those things with you. So we're starting a relationship here. That's the other thing. Yeah. You can't teach somebody to have an experience that they haven't had themselves. And so the experience we're having now to talk to you about a pain point, show you a little bit about how to solve a problem, and get you interested in whether or not we could work together. This is the same experience that you're going to give your federal buyers. Get their interest. Talk to them about something that you know they care about. Solve a little problem for them. Go, oh, you made that easy. Talk to me. So give your federal buyer the same kind of experience that Kirk and I have tried to create for you today. So yes or no, did we do that today? Did we show you how to start a relationship? How easy that is? Yeah.
And Ted, we're going to send out to everyone who's here, we'll send out the contact information to Judy to make sure you can get hold of her. Because it is, I've been doing government contracting for at least 20, 25 years, something like that. And there's a reason why I talked to Judy. And I say that with complete sincerity, right? And if Judy doesn't know, she'll find me someone who knows, and it helps out. So that's just kind of who she is.
I have great referral partners. I mean, I don't do GSA schedules. You couldn't pay me enough money to do a GSA schedule. That's because I'm not any good at it, not because they're not important. I have awesome GSA schedule partners. I have great legal partners. I have marvelous finance partners, yay Kirk. And you're building your own ecosystem. Your ecosystem is going to be unique to you. Robert, yes, this is recorded, and Kirk is going to make sure that you get the data file and the recording. I hope that all of you, I get the chance to stay in relationship one way or another. We are starting a journey together today. And I wish all of you a happy federal fiscal new year. And I hope that the year federal fiscal 2021 that started on October 1st is your best ever. Kirk, any closing thoughts?
That's it. I mean, we for so many reasons, we want you all to do well. We got a country, for my, former service members, so building our country. So definitely don't put your head in the sand. Go out, figure out where you can win, and get the right people on your team to help you do it. Because we need to let's get out of recession and back into growth. That's a lot more fun for most of us. So let's do it. Judy, we're at time, but everybody, you're going to have contact information. I would encourage you to really build a relationship with Judy. At the very least, you'll find a good person that you can have a few laughs with. More likely, you'll get some real insights about how to grow your GovCon business.
And connect with me on LinkedIn at the very least, but grab the goodies and let's stay in touch. Kirk, thank you so much. Let's do this again.
Yeah, and I will talk with you soon, Judy, and hope to see some of you on the webinar soon enough. At least virtually, like video conference. So, thank you so much for spending your lunch with us.
Okay, thanks, Freddie, Martin. We'll talk soon. Take care.
All right.